What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back with another video. What are you doing on the MLB official website, Matt? Well, we're looking at the standings, obviously. But what we're actually doing is I kind of want to run down, well, the end of the season. We're getting very close. What's 92 plus 64? Off the top of my mind, that's 156 games. That means there's 6 games left in at least the Yankee season, but a majority of them too. So we want to run down, I want to run down every contender and talk about the wild card races, because the wild card races, that's where we're going to start, because it's the most live right now, if I'm being honest, and especially in the National League. This is hectic. This is a car crash. I don't know if you could see my mouse or not, because I might have that off, but the wild card in the National League is a damn car wreck right now. The Mets beat the Phillies, 2 out of 3 in that series, I believe, and now they get to face Atlanta in Truist to basically decide their season. Of course, they still have one series after that against the Brewers, I think, and Milwaukee's probably going to be resting starters by that time because they've already clinched their division. Milwaukee's already clinched. They're safe, but the thing is does Milwaukee want to compete for a top 2 seed? I don't think it's a bad idea for the Brewers. That first round bye would definitely help them out a ton if they could somehow manage to steal it from Philadelphia. But Pat Murphy, yesterday I believe, or maybe the day before, they sacked Contreras and Chourio. So I think they've shown that they're okay with just kind of riding out and just letting the season play out and then going into the playoffs not caring about the seeding. But as for the rest of you, San Diego. Man, how do I talk about San Diego? This offense, the team in general, I mean, look at the last 10. They're 8-2, win streak at 4. Of course, they swept the White Sox, I think it was, so that doesn't really count. But that bullpen is nails because you go from like Jeremiah Estrada, Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, and then Tanner Scott. It's a filthy bullpen. Morey Hones even having a decent season. Yuki Matsui when he's healthy. I think he is right now. But that bullpen is nails. And on top of that, they have an offense with Manny Machado, who suddenly woke up this second half. He's been way better. Jurickson Profar, who's been a consistent contributor all season with one of the highest OBPs in baseball this year. Who would have thought of that one? Nando, of course, is still there, being Fernando, a great player. And then, of course, you have like the quote-unquote pitching staff they've managed to slap together. It's not the prettiest, don't get me wrong. Joe Musgrove, for a good portion of the season this year, was pretty bad. Before injury, he missed a lot of the season, don't get me wrong. But pre-injury, Joe Musgrove was very bad. Yu Darvish missed a ton of time. I saw rumor, not sure if it's true, brother with terminal cancer in Japan, I believe it was. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So again, I don't want to sit here and act like that's true. But if that is the case, my God, I feel terrible. I feel sorry for him. And I hope his brother, I don't know, somehow manages to beat it. I don't know. But he missed a good chunk of the season for that personal reason. He even declined pay. I mean, Yu Darvish is just an amazing guy all around. But limping back and getting kind of a short little sprint here before you get playoff ready thrown in, I don't know. That scares me a little bit. Michael King is a decent pitcher who struggles with command at times, walks a good amount of people. And in the playoffs, you can't dance around walks. You just can't do it. You'll load the bases real fast. Hitters get more patient. They get more selective in the playoffs. And then on top of that, like, who else are you going to pick? Matt Waldron? I like Matt Waldron, but he's not that good. I don't want to be mean like that, but Matt Waldron's not that great. So their pitching staff, they've slapped it together. It's held together. It's just not strong. But their bullpen is absolute nails, and their offense helps that a ton. So, in my opinion, I think the Padres are probably locked to stay in, especially, at the Dodgers. But the thing is that these last few years, it feels like they're kind of getting close to picking up the Dodgers' number and starting to not become Big Bro, because you don't get to be Big Bro until you win a damn World Series. But they've had good success against the Dodgers in recent years. So the Padres, can I pull up their schedule? No, not from here at least. But they get the Padres, and then they go on to face, come on, keep going. And then they get the D-backs to close their season. So that's chaos already right there. You get to face, it's the 2 top wildcard teams facing each other as the last series of their season. Now, don't get me wrong, by then they could both be locked in, or Arizona could fall out still. This, tied with the Mets, that's scary. Do I think the Braves have a chance? hard to say. It's another rotation that feels like it's held together with duct tape, glue, and some plywood. It's not pretty. You know, Chris Sale is amazing. Obviously, you don't have Spencer Strider anymore. He's been done since, I don't know, the first 2 months of the year. He's been down a while. Max Fried has not been the dominant self. He missed a lot of time last year, so I don't really blame him for coming back not as Cy Young candidate Max Fried. But in their bullpen, it's been pretty good. You got Joe Jimenez, who's had a decent year. Of course, Raisel Iglesias, other than that blow-up save against the Dodgers, which catastrophic timing on that one. But otherwise than that, Raisel has been nails. I mean, the Braves are just weird. Matt Olson's been better the second half of the year, I'll say that. His second half's been better than his first half. Ozzy Albies is back. You know, you're trying to catch up with the Mets. The thing is that the Mets seem like they've gotten hot at the right time. 7-3 in their last 10, as you could tell. And they just took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Like, that's big. I see all the way down at the bottom. The Reds released David Bell today. They are going with a different manager. That's nothing to do with the playoff race, but that's just baseball news of the day. If you ask me right now who I think would be the wild card teams, the 3 wild card teams, I'd stick San Diego in there. I think they're safe. Of course, they have 2 tough series to end the season with, but they do have a 3-game cushion right now. And let's say they take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, I think you're fine. You're in there. And especially since the Mets have to fight Atlanta. You know, if the Mets take 2 out of 3, Atlanta's dead. So you're probably not going to fall out if you're San Diego. So I'd take San Diego 100%. 8-2 in their last 10. I didn't even see that either. That is scalding at the right time. Arizona, I'd say in a playoff scenario, their offense is so good that they can run you out of the building. Carroll, Marte, Walker, Jock, Suarez. Eugenio Suarez has been, just ate dinner. Unbelievable recently. But the D-backs are another team where their rotation is held together by the same thing. Duct tape, glue, you know, except they bought like some glitter-coated shiny plywood. They have like Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, who are just mid-pitchers this year. Merrill, I'm going to be more fair to because he missed a good chunk of this season. But Zach Gallen's been mid. Their rotation in general has been hurting. I mean, Jordan Montgomery isn't good. Eduardo Rodriguez had an 11 strikeout game against Colorado, but against real comp teams. He obviously hasn't had a full offseason of work or anything like that. So I'm not confident pitching him against a good team yet, at least. But like I said, their offense has been blistering enough. Carroll, I don't know if I mentioned him before, but like even Perdomo's having a solid season. Jake McCarthy's batting, you know, actually having a season. Moreno, you know, they have talent on talent. And they've been really good at the right time as well. If I'm being honest, it all comes really down to Mets at Atlanta. Who's going to win that series? If I had to predict, I'm sorry, Braves fans, I'm kind of leaning Mets here. I'm not saying there's a 0% chance the Mets get swept. It's the Mets, dude. They've been laughing stocks before. They can be laughing stocks again. But I feel far more secure taking the Mets simply because hitting-wise, their hitters have been really good recently. Luis Angel Acuna, since call-up, I didn't expect this type of production. I mean, they've been without Francisco Lindor, and if you watch the games, you really wouldn't even be able to tell. Acuna's been real hot. Of course, like, Alvarez is a fun player, but most importantly, you got the heart of the order guys, and Nimmo, you know, Alonso, kinda. I'm not the biggest Pete fan. But like Nimmo's been pretty good, not as much the back half of the season, but Vientos is good. You know, Jose Iglesias out of nowhere. Oh my God. Yeah, he's been electric and fun to watch with the Mets. I think I'd keep the Mets in over the Braves. Again, no disrespect, but that's kind of how I see it right now. Atlanta is just snake bitten this year. You know, they were so good last year. Last year felt like the season for them. And they didn't cash in that year. Now it's kind of like, can you really force that square peg into the round hole? Fixing my camera. Can you really fit that square peg into the round hole and make it work? I don't know. If you asked me, if you gave me $200 and said, Matt, $200, you got to put that down on who you really think will come out of the NL and be the World Series representative, it's a tough one. You could talk me into every single one. Of course, the Dodgers, they have the top-end talent. Ohtani, Freeman, bets. That's 3 MVPs on roster right there. And Ohtani probably going to win this one this year. I don't like it, but he's probably going to win it. That's just an opinion more than anything. But their pitching is just as duct taped and glued together as a Diamondbacks or a Braves or even a Padres. The starting pitching on the Dodgers is just not that good. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look up Dodgers pitching stats for this year and see just how many guys, starters specifically, have actually had an above average season in terms of pitching. Pretty simple. Of course, they're getting Roshiroru Ramamoto back, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. But otherwise than that, Tyler Glasnow is done for the season. Bobby Miller is terrible. Yoshinobu Yamamoto has been good, of course. Walker Buehler has been terrible. James Paxton's gone. He has no shot. James Paxton has the third most innings pitched on the Dodgers, and he's not even on the roster anymore. Gavin Stone is also down. He's basically been their innings eater this year. He hasn't been bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much I trust the young Gavin Stone. How old is he? He was drafted in 2020. He's currently 24, I think. Yep, 24 or 25, but either way, he's still young, doesn't have a lot of experience. And then, like I said, behind him in that rotation, Walker Buehler has a 70 ERA plus. 70. That's abysmal. And I know he's coming back off injury, so I'm not saying this is how his career is going to turn out. Walker Buehler still seems like a good pitcher. It's just this year, he hasn't found it. So, they rely on their bullpen a ton, and their bullpen's been nails. Daniel Hudson, Blake Trinan, Vesia, Evan Phillips hasn't been that great. Like Landon Knack. Landon Knack's been a nice little find for them. Jack Flaherty, of course, is the ace, I guess, now. I don't know. I don't think I'd put it on the Dodgers just because, like I said, they need innings. Somebody who can get innings. They can get innings out of, and they just don't have many of them. It's Flaherty, it's Yamamoto. That's really it, because Glasnow's done. That Glasnow might be the difference maker. If they had 3 legit starters in Flaherty, Yamamoto, and Glasnow healthy going into the playoffs, I think I'd feel pretty good putting money on them. However, I'm putting my money on the Padres. Yeah, it might be. It's not the sexiest pick. All right, I should probably explain why I didn't pick the Phillies or the Brewers. Can I be honest about the Brewers? Their offense doesn't scare me. Their offense really doesn't scare me at all. I like the speed element they have with Terang and what the hell's that other guy's name? Blake Perkins. Blake Perkins is who I was thinking of. And, but their offense really doesn't strike much fear into me. I mean, you look at it right here. I'm looking at OPS plus sorted. Contreras is having an amazing season. I love William Contreras. Willy Adames is consistently Willy Adames, and he's good. Jackson Chourio, great bat. Otherwise than that, the only other players who are currently playing, Christian Yelich obviously is injured, done for the year. If Christian Yelich was healthy, that's another guy I'd say, maybe I put my money on the Brewers if they have healthy Christian Yelich, but they don't. They've gotten decent production out of Garrett Mitchell so far, which is good to see. Rhys Hoskins has been below average. Bryce Terang has been below average swinging the bat. Blake Perkins, below average with the bat. Joey Ortiz is about league average. Gary Sanchez, below league average. Sal Frelick, below league average. Jake Bauers, below league average. Monasterio, below league average. Eric Haas is giving them good production. Isaac Collins. Who is Isaac Collins? That's why I didn't pick the Brewers. And on top of that, their pitching is even more plastered together. They might have the most plastered together pitching staff in the league right now. I mean, what the heck? Who is their innings eater right now? Who has the most innings pitched on them? Freddie P. And then behind him's Colin Ray. Colin Ray, I keep watching him start, and I haven't seen him throw a good start in a while. I haven't seen a Colin Ray Q start in a while, it feels like. Tobias Myers might be the ace. Tobias Myers has been underrated for a while. I'm not sure if his stats are bloated right now. They might be. But I don't have much faith in this rotation going into the playoffs. The bullpen's not bad. You got guys like Ashby. Devin Williams, of course, is coming back, and he's, good now. But, man, this pitching staff is pieced together. I mean, this is loose rocks, They found Tobias Myers out of nowhere. That's a help. But again, I'm not sure he's playoff ready. Freddie Peralta, he was some people's Cy Young pick. Not going to point out names with Jolly Olive. But Freddie P hasn't been the filthy pitcher that we want. And they've had I think I saw a stat, they've had 15 different starting pitchers throw this year. That's a lot. There's not much continuity there. Why aren't you picking the Phillies, Matt? Because I hate Philadelphia sports. That's a biased thing. No, it's part of it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Philly fans happy. I hate seeing Philly fans happy. But the Phillies, really, the reason why I haven't picked them is their bullpen's unreliable. Pretty unreliable bullpen. Orion Kerkering, what happened? I loved Orion Kerkering, and I gushed over him before the season started. The Phillies is probably the safest pick, though, if I'm being honest, because while I don't really believe in their bullpen, they have the starting pitching staff to do damage to somebody. Wheeler, Nola, Ranger. I mean, you have guys you get. Chris Sanchez has been filthy as well. So they have the rotation to bury you. But again, I'm looking at bullpen ERAs right now. Hoffman's been great. Kerkering has been decent, it says, but I don't know. I've watched his last few and he struggled. Strom's good. I don't know. I don't have Carlos Estevez been decent. I think Philly would be like the fan favorite. If you asked a majority of unbiased people in the NL, they'd probably take the Phillies. But to me, I believe in the Padres offense. It's just kind of where it goes. And once they get a lead on you, you're going to have to touch Robert Suarez, Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, or one of those guys down the stretch, and you're going to struggle. That's a tough thing. This is a tough team to climb back against. I guess that's kind of my overall point of the whole thing is the Padres are a tough team to fight once you get down. So yes, if you ask me who I want to put my money on in the NL, it would probably be the San Diego Padres. That is not me endorsing you to gamble on the Padres. Hold on, let me fix myself. This is not me telling you to gamble on the Padres. Do not look at me and put your hard-earned money on me. Don't do it. All right, back to normal. Fixer like right there. Now let's talk about the American League. Let me tell you, the American League East is probably done. Baltimore has been abysmal. They don't want to make the playoffs, it seems. Their bullpen has been horrible. They DFA'd Dirty Craig the other day, because he's been terrible, Craig Kimbrell. Now, this 3-game set in the Bronx, I think if the Yankees pull out the first game, they basically clinch. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't believe in Baltimore. Their starters are not great, and their bullpen is also just not great. And if the hitting doesn't wake up, it's really over. I mean, Detroit has owned them this year. The Tigers own the Orioles this year. And speaking of Detroit, what is happening? Hold on. You guys need to feel the intensity in this. What is happening in Detroit? Yeah, right now, Detroit Tigers playoff odds on August 11th was 0.2%. Waking up this morning, the Detroit Tigers playoff percent was 62%. What is happening? I'll tell you what's happening. No AL Central team has decided they want to play playoff baseball this year. Cleveland, they've clinched, but they've been pretty bad down the stretch, let me tell you. They've struggled. Look at that on-the-road record. 3 games over 500, and above 500 teams, only 4 over. I'm not telling you I don't like Cleveland's chances. I think their starting pitching is touchable. And their biggest asset is one and the same as the Padres. Yeah, the Guardians are a very tough team to fight back against. If they are up 4-ish runs on you going into the 9th, you might as well just turn your TV off, like I said before. Class A, Elite, Cade Smith has had a filthy year. Hunter Gaddis, Tim Herron, Nick Sandlin. Matt Boyd has come out of nowhere and given them quality innings. Eli Morgan. This team is scary if you get down to them, but their hitting has been more than questionable down the stretch, I will say. Josh Naylor has cooled off in the second half. Jose Ramirez has cooled off in the second half. David Fry is pretty good. The Fry lock works. I like David Fry, but that's 3 good hitters. Lane Thomas hasn't been good there. Jonk Bonks, as much as I love Jonk Bonks, John Kensey Noel, I don't believe that much. He strikes out a ton, and that's giving away free outs in the playoffs that you probably don't want. They called up Angel Martinez again. Not sure how much PT he's going to get. Same with Kyle Manzardo. So their offense hasn't given me much to believe in. Steven Kwan is down right now. But even then, people were talking about Steven Kwan hitting 400 this year. No, he's under 3 again. But he's still a really good bat. But man, the holes in this lineup. Bo Naylor, Andres Jimenez, Brian Rocchio, Tyler Freeman, Will Brennan, Daniel Sheeman. Schneeman. I said Sheeman at first. Schneeman. And then like Austin Hedges. It's an ugly offense that they got to piece together. That's the reason why I don't really believe in Cleveland right now. But back to the rest of the Central. I mean, look at this. The Royals are 2-8 in their last 10. The Minnesota Twins are 3-7 in their last 10. And obviously, well, you got the 36-win White Sox down at the bottom. The Central's been feeding off those teams. You have 3 teams over 500, and if I'm going to be honest, probably one really deserves to be over 500. But, of course, they get to feast off White Sox games. But, man, let me tell you, these 2 teams in Kansas City and Minnesota don't want to make the playoffs, it seems. They really just don't want to. And that's depressing. The Royals have been terrible, like really, really bad over the last about month, maybe. I mean, you know, you really want to see 49-51 against over 500 teams. Wow. Minnesota Twins are 42-60 against teams over 500. Wow. And they're another team where it's like, can you gamble on their health? Minnesota, I don't think I ever will. Byron Buxton, injured a ton. Carlos Correa, injured a ton. Royce Lewis, injured a ton. I can't buy on that. Now, I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. Rocco Baldelli should be fired. That's my opinion. I don't view Rocco Baldelli as a good manager. That's just me. That is my thoughts independent. Kansas City, man, the Yankees series seems like that was the end of them. They got beat down to a pulp by the Yankees when they were boiling hot, it felt like. And Witt didn't show up. Salvi showed up. Was really good, Salvi. But even then, ever since Pasquantino went down, this offense doesn't feel the same at all. Without Pasquantino, there really doesn't feel like there's that much of a threat behind Witt, Perez, and like Freddie Fermin, I guess. Sometimes MJ Melendez is good. It's a toss-up. But from the top rope, Detroit is just dunking on everybody. I don't know what is happening in the city of Detroit. What is going on? That place, man, it's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. They've made this huge playoff push. They better not lose it in the last week, because I'd be so sad. Let me tell you though, Baltimore fans, you don't want to see the Tigers going into the wild card, because you're gonna have to face Skubal. Skubal gets to see, you know, Gunnar Henderson, lefty-lefty matchup. Gunnar Henderson carries your offense. Same with Tony Taters. So, you know, it's like, I don't think you want to see them. Kansas City, you want to see Kansas City or Minnesota, barring they get in. Of course, the Mariners are still in play, don't get me wrong. I just have no faith in the Mariners. This team pump fakes me every single fucking season, and I'm tired of it. It irritates me. They got rid of Scott Service when they were 500. They are now 4 games over. Congratulations. Round of applause for that. The team we're not talking about is Houston, because I hate talking about the Astros. I do. It's the evil empire. They're the Patriots of the MLB. As much as people want to say it's the Yankees, no. The Yankees are the Cowboys of the MLB, all right? We haven't won a World Series in well over a decade, but every year, Yankees fans, including me, I'm guilty of this as well. I'm guilty of saying, this is probably our year. We can go to the World Series this year, and then inevitably failing. But the Astros are the damn Patriots of the MLB. They came out of nowhere with a leader who doesn't look like he should be anywhere near the field. Jose Altuve being a 5'2" midget, and Tom Brady being horribly slow. No elite arm talent when he first came in. You know, 7th round pick, whatever. It's essentially the same thing. They've cheated, both of them. So I think the comparison's there. That's why I don't want to talk about them, because I hate talking about the Astros, because every year they're always in contention. On the national broadcast the other day, I forget who the announcer was. Maybe it was Brian Anderson. He mentioned that the Astros, it feels like it may just be another season where it's a Yankees versus Astros ALCS. Let me say, if by some grace of God, this team in Houston that people wrote off in the middle of June for them struggling, if they somehow make it to the ALCS, face the Yankees, they're probably going to win again, because they always do. They I don't know, superpowers or something. If they match up with the Yankees again in the ALCS, let me tell you, lights are not going to be the only thing hanging off the side of my house come November. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Houston in the ALCS. I don't want to. Makes me sad. I don't want to see that. I don't know. I don't. But this wild card race is full of teams that just don't want to be there. I mean, Detroit has shown, yeah, we're here. We're them. That's fun. Jason Foley blew a save. So that Orioles versus Tigers game was maybe the most fun game of the last, like, 2 weeks. Jason Foley blowing a save. Trey Sweeney dying to make a play. I mean, Trey Sweeney, Yankees prospect, the 5'2" shortstop or whatever he is, going all out to make the play. I loved it. But, man, does nobody else want to make the playoffs or what? Like, Kansas City limping to the finish line. Minnesota limping to the finish line. Seattle's trying their best to keep their head above water for 500. I don't know what to expect. Again, now let's phrase it like I did with the NL. If I had $200, if you gave me $200 and said, Matt, put a bet down, what team do you think is going to make the World Series and be the AL representative? Yankees. Smack the table. I'm not going to do it because then it would unplug my microphone, but Yankees. I don't know. Something feels different this year. Maybe it's the run differential being not even close to anybody else's in the American League. That might help a little bit. Or maybe it's the fact that they're freaking unbelievable on the road and against 500 or better teams. But something just feels different. All right, whether it's Soto having aura, Gleyber Torres picking it up in the second half. Every day's been Gleyber Day now, it feels like. Aaron Judge being Aaron Judge. Of course, he's kind of unreliable in the playoffs, he's shown. Hopefully he has one good run in him. And a pitching staff that's not bad. Carlos Rodon, I mean, he showed in his last few starts that he's been a really decent pitcher. Of course, his overall season stats won't paint that same picture that I'm trying to say. However, I really do like what Carlos Rodon's shown the Yankees. And it seems like they fixed their closer drama with Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver has been incredible since stepping into the closer role. He's hyped. He's like amped up every time he's on the mound. You know, I love to hear him post-game talk. He's a fun interview. I love Luke Weaver, and I think that come October, that is their guy that's going to be closing games, and he's really good. So I'd probably I'd split it. $100 on the Yankees, $100 on Houston, because it feels like another Yankees-Houston ALCS year again. Yay. I'm so excited. Yay. Aaron Boone. You know what? Oh, God. Aaron Boone's going to put in like Marcus Stroman up one. Oh, God. You know, the only thing that keeps replaying in my mind is the Altuve home run off Chapman. I don't want to see it! But yeah, I just had to get on here and talk about MLB standings. This is outrageously fun down the stretch of this season, and it's incredibly fun to watch. Yankees versus Baltimore starts tomorrow. Braves versus Mets starts tomorrow. I'm amped as hell, bro. Like, this is the most giddy I've been for sports since the damn NBA playoffs were on. And, you know, baseball is an interesting one. This is getting spiritual here. Hold on. Baseball is a different feel. And I explained this to my friend Brandon the other day. I said, baseball is different than any other sport because it is untimed anxiety and punishment. If your team is down 8-0 and the other team just keeps scoring, there's no timer. If your team's down 10-0, you go 9 innings regardless. If your team's down 15-0, they must play 9 innings regardless. It's untimed punishment, and the best part about it, anxiety between pitches. It kills me. It kills me. All right, it kills me, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, 0-2 count or 3-2 count. We'll go 3-2 count, runner on, big moment in the game, 7th inning, and the pitcher's like, he steps off, plays with the rosin bag a little bit. It's like, I'm excited. And this was me coming on here basically telling you how excited I am for MLB playoffs. It can't happen quick enough. I'm ready. I hope you're ready. If your team's in, leave a like on this video. If your team isn't in the playoffs or won't make the playoffs, like the video, you know? Maybe your unhappiness will help me. I don't know, something like that. Just like the video regardless. If you're a White Sox fan, how are you watching this video? I felt like your neck would be in a rope by now. But, you know, at the end of the day, we can both agree, Jerry Reinsdorf. I'm going to go catch the game. See you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining me.